Okay, so what I was going to say now, the thing you should know is you have your different workspaces, and I find this is actually, pretty handy, although I do find myself working in the standard workspace most of the time. But you can change this based on what you're currently trying to do. Okay, so if you're working with text, then you can change this to text, and it's going to give you different palettes. Okay, if you're working on animation, then it's going to give you different palettes. Okay, so I'm just going to put it back to standard. Now, an important thing, the thing that After Effects does really well is composite video. So it can composite multiple layers over a specified amount of time. Now, when dealing with time, you have this timeline here, okay? And right now it's 0 to 1 second to 2 seconds to 3 seconds to 4, so on and so forth. But I can shrink this down if I want to. I can tell it to play back only a certain portion of this time. Okay? So it's only going to play back this section of the timeline. That could be handy. Okay? And then this top toolbar, or this top little, I don't even know what you call it, but this is your, okay, it's the time navigator. This is the time navigator bar, okay? I hovered over it and I cheated. Okay, this is the start and this is the end, okay? So you can grab these and you can actually zoom in on the time. So you can see the actual time. I'm zooming in on it. And now I can see individual frames. And in fact, when I grab this slider now to move things about, it kind of pops around. That's because it's popping to each frame. Okay, so that'll be handy if you're trying to focus on a single, like a small set of the frames. Let's see. Okay, so a lot of these will probably make sense, hopefully, but you can zoom in and out on this view. It doesn't mean you're changing the size of your video. It just means you're looking at a smaller portion of the picture, okay? If you want to change the size of your video, of your movie, then you actually, with this layer selected down in the composition, then you can click on these handles and actually change the size of that video. So if you wanted to zoom in on it, you could do that. Now, if you want to restrict the proportions when you're doing this, which you often will want to do, because most of the time you don't want to squash your video, say like this, or stretch it, so what you want to do is hold down Shift when you grab a corner, and that's going to restrict the proportions. Okay. You can change your zoom level here also. This is your time code. Right now I'm sitting at the 0 frame of all time for this particular composition. And you can see that it starts to count up. So because we're working on a live action film, what we have are 29 frames, or really we have 30 frames per second. Okay, but it's called 0 indexed. It starts with 0, so frame 0 here, and it goes up to frame 29 there, and then it goes to 0 again. So 30 frames per second. let's see. Is there anything else we want to cover today? I'm thinking that's probably good for today. So we'll stop there and we'll start covering more in another class. But I highly recommend you guys start getting your shots in and start organizing your set. And then on Monday, we'll start editing our video, cutting it down to size so that we have our so our overall composition for our sequence is only 8 to 12 seconds. Okay.